Thank you so much for watching WRIF TV. Now, this interview is obviously with video, but I don't interview everybody on Zoom. That's why I put it on my Talkin' Rock with Meltdown podcast. We talk to rock artists from all over the genre. So check out Talkin' Rock with Meltdown wherever you get your podcasts. And now to today's video interview.
Three Tiers, what's happening, man? How are you?
Good, dude. Just chilling, brother.
Yeah, are you in the West Coast?
No, we're down in South Dakota right now. Brookings, South Dakota. We got a show tonight.
Now, did you just recently play Sturgis?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Buffalo Chip.
Yeah, that was crazy, man.
Yeah, I saw that. So how does a band like Hollywood Undead go over in Sturgis? Was it a biker event?
Yeah, dude. I mean, the whole front rows, dudes on Harleys, and they like rev if they like stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And no, that was one of the cooler experiences. I've always wanted to go, so to be able to go under those circumstances, it was pretty cool, man. And I think people would be surprised about how nice everybody is and how cool everybody is. It's not, what it's made out to be, I guess, through perception. Everybody was super cool. We enjoyed the hell out of it, dude. It was a big party. I mean, everybody's just having the time of their life, so we enjoyed the hell out of it.
Yeah, it's funny because I've had a Harley, practically my whole adult life, and I've never been out there yet. So I got to get out there. It's one of
the bucket. Go.
Yeah,
you gotta go, man. I thought it was going to be cool, but it was way cooler than I even thought. Everybody's just having. It's like a huge party. Everybody's camping, but everybody's camp is everybody else's camp. Everybody gets to. It really was. It was awesome, man. Very worth it.
Now I've got kids, so my kids are getting to the age now where I can start to jet off. And you got kids, right?
Yes, sir.
You got what, 3 of them? Is that right?
3. The 2 of them are really young. I got a 2-year-old and a 6-month-year-old. And then my older one, she's 13. So I got a long time before I get to go do anything.
Yeah. What does your 13-year-old think of Dad the Rock Star?
Part of her loves it because a lot of our kids that are school like the band, so she probably feels cool. But then I work extremely hard to embarrass her whenever they're around. So it's a dichotomy for her. There's both sides to it.
So you're a lot like every other dad out there.
Oh, yeah, dude. I don't think that changes at any point, no matter what you're doing. The second she has friends over, I just can't wait to come up with whatever I can to humiliate her.
That's great, man. We should share some tips later on. Yeah, I just took my daughter just turned 21, so I took her to Nashville. It's always cool that and she got to meet like Kid Rock and Seth Green and a bunch of guys that were out there that I knew and stuff. And that's always fun to share the experiences with your kids.
Oh, dude, it's awesome. I love Nashville. I took my daughter. One thing I'm very proud of is her favorite band is the Deftones, and that's my favorite band. And obviously I showed it to her, but you never know. I want to listen to Katy Perry, but she loves the Deftones and the Beatles and a lot of the stuff I love. So we went and saw the Deftones in downtown Nashville. And that was one of those points, I was kind of like, this is surreal. I grew up going to Deftones shows my whole young life, and now I'm doing it with my kid. And it's one of those, you kind of have to acknowledge as special. And we loved it, man. It's cool when you have kids who you could share those moments with. So
you're a Beatles fan. I wouldn't have gathered that from you. I love the Beatles.
The Beatles are my second favorite band. I like Creedence is my favorite band. John Fogerty is my favorite songwriter. But yeah, the Beatles are right up there.
Yeah, I saw that. That was kind of surprising as well. What resonates with you so much that John Fogerty offers?
He's just a fantastic storyteller. Like, there's something about, music, I think, is 90% subliminal. You don't really pick what you like. It's very subjective,
Mm-hmm.
And there's something about his voice, the chords he uses, the way he writes songs, and the story he tells that subliminally, I can't get away from it. And those guys, especially the earlier dudes, music has changed so much as far as how it's produced and using synth and all these instrumentations, and it's all computerized. I always look back at those dudes because they just made amazing music with 4 chords and a guitar and a story, and that's all you needed back then. Tom Petty said something great about that. He said 3 chords and the truth is what makes a great song. And that is kind of what influences my writing. If you're overdoing and over embellishing a song to make it special, you're already on the wrong track. So those guys are, I guess, our anchor point as far as music goes, to make sure we got our head in the right place, when we write.
Now, speaking of telling stories, of course, the latest record, Hotel California, tells stories, and it's pretty much about your life in Southern California. Am I correct?
Yeah, certainly a lot of it. It definitely played heavy into the album.
Yeah. And I mean, like being here in Detroit and stuff, we have some like Detroit bands. Like, of course, you're familiar with Eminem and Ted Nugent, all that kind of stuff. And it kind of does resonate with the rest of the country. I was going to ask you, do you think that, some of the songs from California, maybe City of the Dead or something, resonate with the rest of the country?
I think, well, the songs that are typically California based are usually, glamorized about how great it is.
Yeah.
But we kind of tell, we have massive drug issues and homelessness issues, and that's kind of where we came from. And I know a lot of places are having those issues too. So we've always tried to kind of talk about the underbelly of where we grew up, as opposed to, you have the movies and the tech industry, and that's kind of what everybody thinks of when they think of California. The beach, of course, where our take was always kind of the hoods of LA and the underbelly of LA. So we talk more about that. So I'm not sure if in a pop sense anybody gets it, but I know Detroit dudes will get it because they have the same fucking problems as we do.
Yeah, we have a few of the problems. There's no doubt about that. So how much this record was thought of, started, during with the pandemic, with the lockdown, anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, we did a lot. So we released a couple albums. We did a double album that came out literally 2 weeks before everything shut down.
Yeah.
So we kind of, that made it tough. We couldn't really do anything on the album. We did videos and a live stream and all the other BS that everybody was doing. And then everybody kind of had to go their separate ways. So it was good for us in the sense that when we started writing the record, everybody was like, pent up. Everybody was rearing to go. So a lot of that energy that had built up, because there was a point where I was like, dude, am I even in a band anymore? Because when it all started, probably a month or two, and then it's a year, and then it's a year and a half. So you start second guessing everything. So to get back in the room with each other and write, I think it really affected us in a positive way, because everybody was, I don't know, it reinvigorated us, as far as writing goes, because I wasn't sure it was going to even happen again at that point. No one really knew what the heck was going on. So it definitely came into the record in that sense.
Now, you guys started writing this record back in the fall last year? Or started recording?
Yeah, we recorded it last fall.
Okay, so do you guys go into the studio like fully locked and loaded, or do you guys go in there with an empty slate?
It all depends. A lot of our records are different. Some of them will skip me, and some of the other guys will skeleton out first. This one we didn't. We had a couple ideas, but mainly we just wrote in the studio. So normally we'll kind of write in groups. But this is another result of the lockdown stuff. We just went into the studio and went because we all wanted to be there. Everybody was excited, because writing music sometimes, unfortunately, becomes like any other job where you just got to go for these hours, work on this. But it was really a work from a joyous perspective. So this one was very group oriented. We were all in the same room from start to finish, and everybody added their thing to everything. So it was a little different than how we did it, but it helped, I think.
And as far as the name of the record is concerned, I don't know, you probably answered this question a billion times, but do you get any pushback from the Eagles or anything?
We haven't heard anything yet. They probably don't know we exist, so
that might be
an issue.
That might be a good thing. Do your legal people say, you know what, you can call it that, but you got to change the spelling, or you guys just throw it out?
No, we did that on purpose because it just is darker. It sounds. Yeah. There's a movie called Kalifornia with a K with Brad Pitt and David Duchovny, and he's like a serial killer and stuff. So it already had that connotation for us. And obviously, legally, we probably couldn't name it that. We certainly don't want to go to bat against the Eagles lawyers because we hired ours off the back of a phone book. So, it wouldn't be good for us.
Off the back of a matchbox, a matchbook.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, better call Saul. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
So being here in Detroit and stuff, is there any Detroit music that influences you?
Well, I mean, it's cliche, but obviously Eminem was a big influence for us. One of the things that makes Eminem so special that I don't think people understand is he was the first dude to be vulnerable in rap music. He kind of, where, it was all about money and cars and girls and all this stuff. It opened up that avenue for us to be like, oh, it's okay to do hip hop, but be vulnerable and, let those things out. So that was kind of mold breaking, especially in the hip hop world, because you don't always have to be tough. You don't always have to, bang my check and take my money or whatever it is, So that was cool. And then one thing Detroit Rock City was one of our favorite movies growing up. So that was kind of this is long before we ever went to Detroit. Detroit's always been part of our nomenclature and like our culture and stuff like that. So we were always excited to go there. I actually have always loved going to Detroit. I think the venue's called the Fillmore.
Yeah.
That area is awesome. The shows are always awesome. Michigan in general, they put it down. It shows, they're in, this is the truth. There's a lot of places in the, everywhere where crowds aren't the same as other crowds. There's the energy's different. And Michigan in general always puts it down. And when you played 2,000 shows, that means a lot because you kind of siphon off their energy. And we've always loved playing anywhere in Michigan, Detroit in particular, just because they're out there to get down. And that makes us like, okay, well, let's do this. So we always appreciated going there.
Yeah, I think last time, I think, you guys played the Fillmore, you played St. Andrews as well. But I was just talking with Gavin Rosdale from Bush the other day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like I don't want to fish for compliments for Detroit or Michigan, but he kind of came out of the blue and just interrupted whatever I was saying. He goes, "Let me tell you something about Detroit." And they played last night, but it's cool because I think that people here, they work hard and they play hard, in the words of Ted Nugent.
No, and it really is true. It's a working class city, and that's where we're from. I don't like the glamour, like LA, and I hate saying this, but LA is one of the worst places to play shows. It's just the truth. No one gets excited when the tour stops in LA. And that's for a lot of bands. And so you go to a place like Detroit, Cleveland, there's a lot of Midwestern cities in particular, Chicago, that just, they get down, they work hard, they play hard. In Detroit, the culturally, it's a really interesting city just because the amalgamation of cultures and stuff. So I know Detroit gets a lot of flack for a lot of things, but we got nothing but love for it, and that's where Tim the Toolman Taylor lived also.
That's right. Yeah, very important part of our culture. So so I know you guys just played a show in Saginaw, right, just recently?
Yes, at Bay City, I guess that's Saginaw, right across the river.
Yeah,
the Michigan kids, they get wild, dude.
So you're out on tour right now with Papa Roach, correct?
Yeah, Papa Roach, Falling in Reverse, and Bad Wolves.
Now, did you have a chance to ever tour with Deftones? Oh, did I lose you?
No, we played at festivals and stuff.
Yeah.
You got me?
Yeah, okay, you're back.
You got
me? Buzzed out there for a little bit. Yeah, you're good.
Sorry. We've never toured with the Deftones. We've done plenty of.
Well, now you're starting to fade out again there. We got the pause going. Now I feel like I have to fill the dead air with something.
The opportunity, but since it's kind of like an arty rock band, they're definitely more alternative than our crowd. I don't know if it would work.
Yeah.
But I would do it just to be able to tour with them. But yeah, they're kind of in a different world than we are. But anytime I can see them, I do.
Now, this is going to be an idiotic question probably, but I just have to ask you. I follow you guys a little bit, but when did the masks come off?
After right around the 5th record. The thing was, we always used them because we were super into graffiti growing up. So we thought it was like we could kind of use this visual art as part of the band's makeup. And that was really what we wanted to do. And it kind of just came down to us running out of creative ideas. We didn't just want to wear them just to wear them. And we were kind of tapped out as far as what you can do with them. So that was really all it was, is we just said, we couldn't get anything going where we were happy with it. So we just kind of took them off and haven't put them back on.
Yeah, because did you ever feel like, I'm just thinking out loud here, I didn't even think about this before, but did you ever feel like you got lumped in with some of the other bands like the Mushroom Heads or the Slipknots or anything like that? Or were you guys
that used to drive me a little crazy because, that was never like our intention or our purpose. In fact, when we wrote music in the beginning, we were saying things that we probably weren't supposed to say, and we wanted, we didn't necessarily, because we were just putting that on the internet. And then as time moved on, we loved the visual aspect because you could kind of create something you can't obviously without them. And the symbolism in it was cool to us. But when we ran out of stuff to do, we didn't want to just keep them or for commercial reasons because the label liked them or whatever the case may be. So we just dropped them when we creatively weren't into it anymore.
Yeah. What was it like the first time you went out on stage without them?
I don't know. I was pretty drunk. No, some people were like, "Hey, what the hell?" And then now you don't hear much about it. And we're not even saying we're never going to do it again. If we have a cool idea or something we want to work in with them, we totally would. But it's got to be authentic for us to want to do it, I guess.
But from like like John 5 is one of my friends, and it's like he always has the face paint and stuff. And did you ever feel like you were kind of another character, like a different person up there on stage with it on, and then maybe when you took it off, it might have been a little bit, I don't know.
Yeah, well, okay, so just for historical aspect, we never wore the mask the whole set. We would wear them
Okay,
for
I
the
got
first
you.
few
Okay, all right,
songs
got
and
you.
take them off. That was already expected. But yeah, there's definitely that caricature aspect to it, and it is cool performing in it because the visual is pretty striking.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It's
yeah,
spooky, and a lot of people have a lot of fear of it, and so that energy is really palpable when you play. So I always enjoyed it. It was never like, oh, we didn't want to do it. And I love John 5 stuff, and Wes Borland's done great stuff with that too. It's very, very visually cool. People underestimate how much visuality affects music and when you're delivering it and stuff. So I love that. I love that when people add theatrical aspects to a live show, it's something I really like. So I always like John 5 for that, Rob Zombie in general for that, West for that, and obviously Slipknot. So it's just cool.
yeah. And the Kiss guys, and stuff like that. I always thought it was pretty cool too that I know some of these guys off the stage, and it's so funny because they're a different person. It seems like when they put this mask on, it's almost like they've got their cape on now.
Yeah, no, totally. And there's something about even though everybody knows who these guys are,
Right.
you don't feel like it while you got it on. So it's kind of like it's a ticket to ride type thing. Like, hey, can I go rob a bank in this and get away with it? Because it's not really me. There's something about it that is cool psychologically.
Yeah. So what do you guys have coming up down the pike here? You got your touring right now with the P Roach boys. The record just came out. You got a tour for the rest of the year? Or?
No, so yeah, we got this tour. We're gonna do some festivals, Blue Ridge Rock Festival, and a couple other ones, and then we're gonna kind of wind down for the year. We got to go to Europe in September for a press run. It's unfortunate because we can't really tour there because the situation with Russia and the Ukraine has kind of put the brakes on things for us. So we're gonna wait till next year. We're gonna hit the U.S. again with the same package, I believe, that we have now, and just do other markets. And then hopefully the rest of the world opens up. There's a bunch of issues in like Australia with the COVID stuff still. So it's been kind of you can't really plan because no one really knows what's going on. So we don't have any plans as far as touring, but we got a bunch of stuff we're going to do, some videos and things like that.
Yeah. Well, Johnny, thanks so much for the time. Appreciate it. You got the new record out. Hotel California dropped last week, the 8th record from you guys. And looking forward to seeing you back here in the Motor City. We'll have to drink some beers or some bourbon or something.
Yeah, bourbon. Let's do that. Skip the beers, bro.
Oh, bourbon. I was just in Pittsburgh with Metallica. They're blackened bourbon. Are you a bourbon guy?
Some of it's weird. Bourbon's the one alcohol where some of it's like grotesque and then some of it's really good. So it just depends.
All right. My treat. I'll buy when you come out here.
All right. Can't wait to meet you in person, brother.
Thanks so much for the time. I appreciate it.
Of course, bro. Take care.
Yeah.
Later, man.